Hey, everybody, John Gums going live, Dakota Grappler. Got a great young guest on tonight, Northern States Wyatt Turnquist, winner, and then another great guest, Bill Holton. And again, if Billy is watching this tonight, we got to get Billy on here too, so we get the real young, or the Bill Holton the second on, or whatever is the second or third. But just going to have fun, talk a lot of wrestling tonight. We're here to promote the sport of wrestling. I'm going to start right away here with Wyatt and ask him a couple questions. Wyatt, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, where you're from, and what year you are in college, and we'll go from there.
I'm Wyatt Turnquist. I am currently a senior at Northern State up in Aberdeen. I grew up in Winter, South Dakota, small town, South Central South Dakota, for everyone who doesn't know. So I've been here for about 4 years. Gotten to know some great wrestling families over the years. It's kind of why I'm here. You know, I've got to know Bill pretty well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, just to talk wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, we get people right away on here. Hey, Wyatt Turnquist, hello from Groton. Jeremy Kruger getting on.
Groton,
and hopefully
South
a lot
Dakota.
of people on. Yep. As people start getting on tonight, feel free to ask some questions if they're appropriate. We'll definitely bring them up. You can make comments. That's what it's about. We're here to talk wrestling. One of the first questions, now you grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
What is the difference wrestling in a small town versus coming to Aberdeen, which is not necessarily big, but going into that atmosphere?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of nervous. You know, I grew up in a town with less than 3,000 people. So it's kind of just like, everybody everywhere. But I think the big thing for me when I got here was how much support there really is for the wrestling program. Like, I guess when I was growing up in high school, not to say there wasn't support, but just like the difference in support from high school to college in the big city is like, I kind of just expected to be like a nobody, I'll go to college, wrestle, and that's it. But, I go out in the community, I see all the support and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things is like, you're kind of more than just like a high school wrestler. I mean, you're kind of known in the community. You start to know more people than just like the people within the school, donors, alumni, people like that. So I think that was a pretty big difference for me, just making those relationships.
Okay. One of the super fans here, my favorite Dakota Grappler guest ever. There we go.
So far.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
which is pretty good considering.
I don't know who she's talking about.
It must be me. No, I'm just.
It's gotta be.
No, love your mom. In fact, I visited with her several times at the gas station, which if you guys from Winter probably know that. But she is a super duper wrestling mom out there. Loves her son. Now, quick question for you. Now, wrestling, it took a little bit of time. You've been transitioning up to 149, doing a few different things. What was the biggest change coming to college for style-wise wrestling for you?
I think taking those beatings my freshman year. I think there's always a point in everyone's freshman year where either you get sick of it and fold, or you get sick of it and you get better. I think that was a big thing for me. Is I came in my freshman year and like I'm not to say I wasn't prepared, but like I didn't expect to just get beat on every day. And it wasn't like I was seeking out the best guys in the room and stuff like that. Like I was a freshman wrestling Billy, who's 4th, 5th year senior at the time.
4th or 5th year senior.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the hardest thing for me was just being able to like see light at the end of the tunnel of some of those beatings. Mm-hmm. And like those hard days where it just seems like nothing's clicking. So that was a big transition. And now it's just kind of, like the grind is just normal for me. That's like just what I do every day now. But for that first year, it was definitely tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got to go through the 2020 season, and that's usually when we get the college wrestlers still on. What was the big change there? Because you were looking to you just had your first varsity opportunity the previous year, and then you're getting into the 2020 season. You got kind of separated. You got into pods. Tell us about moving through that year.
Yeah, so I was unlucky yet fortunate. So I redshirted the 2020 season when COVID happened. So I didn't really lose any eligibility and actually gained a year. So I'll still be here 2 more years after this year. But it was definitely weird. I didn't was my first year of college, and I never got like a postseason, so we didn't get to train together, and it definitely sucked for like the older guys that we had one guy qualify for nationals that year, and he didn't get to wrestle. So it was weird, and it was kind of hard. Like we weren't in school for like 6 months, so it was kind of weird to stay in touch with the team and my coaches and stuff like that. But I feel like we managed pretty well. It was definitely difficult, and I wouldn't want to do it again, but I feel like we made the best of the situation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody came out of it, came through as, the next year winning a co-champions of the NSIC, toughest conference in the country. So I think everybody came through it pretty good. So that summer, and I know there was a number of kids that are from Rapid City or ended up back in Rapid City, and I think they got together and trained. What did you spend your time doing when you weren't able to get in the room in Aberdeen?
Yeah, so it was kind of a weird situation. I moved to Aberdeen. I planned on staying in Aberdeen that summer, living with an older guy, but everything was shut down, and I was there for like 2 weeks. I was working a manual labor job. I could hardly train. Like I made a little weight room in our garage out of like just stuff we could find. And I did that for about 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, this sucks. Like I got to get on a mat somewhere. So I have a really good relationship with a family in Rapid City, the Voorhees. And I went out there for a weekend to train, and we were just hanging out, and they're like, why don't you move here? I was like, dude, why don't I? And I went back to Aberdeen that Sunday, and I was living in Rapid that Tuesday, packed my stuff up, and we trained 5 days a week, lifting, doing CrossFit, wrestling. So I think that made a big jump in my wrestling as well. Just I was training for a normal season during the summer. So that was great.
Yeah, you can definitely see how the strength made a difference. It seemed like I watched you between your sophomore and junior year. You start seeing the difference in your strength. I think that pays off. Because were you always a, let's say, 24/7 wrestler? You play other sports?
I tried. I didn't really necessarily like any of the sports. I did cross country and track in high school, mostly because my wrestling coach was the coach for that. But no, I've been a wrestler forever.
Okay, so the transition was really not a transition. It's just wrestling more.
No, it was more of the same.
Yeah, one thing I would be curious to know, and I did not get to see Wyatt wrestle a lot in high school. And one thing we see at every level of college wrestling when guys come in is the transition of being able to be competitive on the mat, whether it was in the bottom position or even in the top position. And Wyatt was, pretty proficient on the mat right away, and obviously still is today. And I would venture to say that his best position is on the mat. And was that something that you saw a change in when you moved from high school to college, or were you pretty tough on the mat in high school also?
I was pretty good. I was pretty good on top in high school. I didn't really have like an idea of what I was doing necessarily. Like I just got in the room and did what I felt was right, and then it would translate out on the mat. I think as far as like bringing that to the collegiate level, we train a lot on the mat at Northern. Basically every day we're doing something on top or bottom, and I just kind of really bought into the stuff that we were doing, and I found things that could work for me, I guess. So I don't necessarily attribute that to like being good at it in high school. I just think we do a really good job of focusing in those areas here now, and I kind of take advantage of every chance we get to learn in that position, I guess.
Good.
Okay. Now, how about throw us out some names, some of your coaches over the time. Like, tell us about your high school coach.
So when I started wrestling varsity when I was in 7th grade. So I had a coach. I wasn't really close with him. I didn't know a lot about him. But then when I was a sophomore, I got Spencer Novotny, who's the current head coach. And his assistant coach was Jade Schuyler, who had been my coach since I was 2nd grade, 3rd grade. So he knew me well. They were really instrumental in just like kind of letting us find out who we are as wrestlers. Like they didn't try to force a certain wrestling style upon us or anything like that. And in that time, I started going to a club in Gregory, South Dakota. It's called Mat Pack Wrestling Club with Seth Webster. in this it's a one mat room with probably 30, 35 kids from all over the area. We had, I think my senior year, we had like 5 or 6 different state champs in the one mat room. So it's pretty cool. And then during that time, I would also, in the summer times, I would just seek out opportunities to train. So I'd be wrestling at the club at my high school. And like I said earlier, I got a really good relationship with Brent Voorhees, and he helped me out a lot through high school in Rapid City and stuff like that. So each of those coaches has a special place in my heart, I guess, and has helped me kind of develop to where I am now in their own respective ways.
Yeah, definitely. So somebody's asking a question here. Now I'm going to bring it up because we're not quite at that point, but I think it's a good little transition here. Now, where are you going with wrestling after college? You had already mentioned to me off the screen you'd like to stay and become a coach, but tell us a little bit more what you're thinking.
Obviously my dream is to coach collegiately. However that comes up, if I have to be a graduate assistant or if I can get an assistantship somewhere right away, that would obviously be my dream. But no matter, I guess, what route I take, I want to be involved in wrestling one way or another, whether it's a youth program, a high school. I just feel like I've given so much of my life to it already that I would kind of just be lost without it. And I feel like I have a lot of stuff to give back. So yeah, I can't say for sure like what I'm going to do, but my dream would be to coach collegiately. So.
Okay. So Bill, tell us some stories you about what you know about Wyatt.
Oh, I've watched Wyatt kind of develop through the program, and he, one thing that we've seen for sure is he's definitely a leader. He's a leader on the mat. I'm not in the room, but I believe that he's a leader in the room. I think he's actually a fairly vocal leader. We've been lucky enough to have him come up and wrestle and do a clinic with the pit crew kids here one day. Good teacher, kids got along good with him. He's got some great skills, and I just have. We always feel great when we're watching Wyatt come out on the mat. It always makes us feel like something good is going to happen. My wife to me, it's a compliment. Whenever he's going to get started, I don't know how many times she has said, "Boy, I just get like I'm getting ready to watch Billy wrestle," and there's a lot of the same techniques that happen, and so that's one thing. But it's just wherever we're at, we always want to try to catch his matches, and we try to be mat side as much as we can. But if we're watching away matches, I don't miss many, of course, and when Wyatt's coming to the mat, my wife feels the same way. So that's been good. We got to see him in the summer, at the golf tournament. There's a lot of places to see him. So I would like to, I love watching guys in the room. I'd love to be able to get in the room and watch a little bit and watch them battle with, whoever's around that weight class, whether it was, Cade Moore or whether it was, Billy or Devin, 57-pound Devin Barr, 57-pounder now. I think those would be kind of fun, but I'm a room guy. I love being there. I like being in the room every bit as much as going to competition. So.
Okay. How about you? If you could, what's your daily routine right now? Are you kind of going just one a days? Or are you doing a little workouts yourself, or what are you doing now, Wyatt? Because you have your, I'd say a month from now, you really got to start turning it up. What are you doing right now?
Yeah. So, right now as a team, we lift twice a week in the mornings at 6:30. So Monday, Wednesday, I'll get up at 6:30 or before that and go lift with the team. And then I'll stay after with a couple of my teammates, usually Landon Fisher and Devin Barr. We'll go down in the wrestling room and do just like a quick conditioning circuit, something like that, just a little extra. It's usually like jump rope, footwork, stuff like that, biking. And then I'll go to class, and then we have practice at 3:30. And then I'll usually, if I have something in mind, I'll stay after and work on it or do pull-ups or something like that. And then on the days that we don't lift, I've been getting up in the mornings and wrestling with Rocky before class, just doing some simple technique stuff, some sparring. And then I'll go to practice that afternoon. So I'm not doing a lot of crazy stuff. I'll do 2 extra wrestling sessions a week, extra conditioning after practice, after lifts. But I feel like I'm doing like the right stuff without putting a ton of strain on my body, I guess.
Speaking of strain, I'm kind of curious that, with the whoop, I'm kind of curious why Billy tells me he's always out working you. And he's always getting a little more strain in than you are. I don't understand why that's happening with that old guy.
I don't know if he's beat me yet, but if he has, I would say it's probably because he's older. It's harder on his body. You can tell him I said that too.
Well, he might see it. I got some too.
You got one too?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what that is.
So Wyatt's got one on, right?
Oh, watch.
No, it's a whoop strap right here.
A whoop strap, okay.
Yep.
Just a little.
And it measures your heart rate and heart rate variability,
sleep,
a number of other metrics, and it kind of tells you how your recovery is and how much strain you're putting on your body and how much training you can do. So
I might need something like that because I'm doing a lot of sort of train quite a bit myself.
It's pretty eye-opening.
It is. You learn a lot of things, and it's pretty good. I really like it. So
might have to get them as an advertiser. No.
yeah, they're good. It's well, and you'll find, I think.
Tell the name of it again. It's called a
whoop. WHOOP.
Okay, whoop strap. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I know why it's been wearing it for a while. And how did you have it last year much, or did you kind of get it during the summer? Or I remember seeing you a little bit with it on on social media before we've ever talked about it.
I debated for about 3 years if I wanted one, and this past August I broke and I got one and I love it. I don't know what I did before it, to be honest. It's pretty beneficial to me.
Is it a watch too? Is it a?
It is not. No, there's no screen on. Yeah, there's no screen on it. Yep.
Just a strap. Okay.
Yeah, and also they have like wearables. So like there's a shirt with a little pouch. I'll put the sensor in during practice, or there's underwear with a pouch that you can.
Oh,
so I never take it off. So it's pretty cool.
Correct. Yeah, I'm the same way, and I do have. I've got shorts with them on too, and so.
And we have a couple teammates with them, so we're all in groups and we compete against each other and stuff like that.
So now, does it give you a number on how high you go? To explain that, what is it doing with that?
Yeah, so it kind of tracks like strain on your body. The strain scale is like 0 to 20.9, I believe. 20.9 is maximal. And it just kind of monitors your workouts, tells you what strain is, what your heart rate is during the workout.
Hard enough?
Yeah, it will tell you. Yeah.
Okay, I need that because I don't know if I'm working hard enough.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I always joke I don't think it's a workout unless I sweat, and so I'm riding bike in the morning and I've got a hat on. I've got I'm on my own home. I'm pedaling away and I'm going. Oh no, I've just monitored it myself, but I think that'd be kind of cool. That might be my newest purchase coming up there, Bill.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. You learn a lot. And what I have found, I don't know the reason why, but I have found that I've had a hard time with my recovery lately. But
So now recovery brings that number back down, or is it?
Yeah, it'll show you. Yeah, I'll see if I can find.
I think it's kind of cool. I'm learning something.
Find a day. So this was a couple days ago, but that was my recovery. So, I've had a number of those days that are in the red. So it's kind of, and sometimes I get good sleep, but I still have low recovery, and it's, because my heart rate variability is.
So what's your range on that, Wyatt, on your recovery? Do you get, is it say like 100%? Does it say?
So I usually try to go for green. And it all kind of depends on what kind of sleep you get. Like the days we have lift where I'm getting up at like 5, it's probably going to be a little bit lower. And like days after duels, I don't wear it when I wrestle in my matches, but for some, like I'll have a really low strain and my recovery be like 13% just because of like the long bus ride, cutting weight, stuff like that. But I've kind of like, I don't really bought into it. Yeah, nutrition does make it. Yeah. It's like I got a notification 2 days ago. It said like poor sleep, but high nutrition made your recovery green. So
Okay.
it's pretty cool just how we can monitor that stuff. And I'm kind of bought into it now. Like I'm always trying to get green recoveries and follow the sleep coach and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's
good.
That's pretty cool. No, definitely. Now, okay. Now, Bill had said you do some social media. What has been your focus? You kind of like doing some stuff like that, and I was kind of surprised when he mentioned that you would want to come on. So I'm interested. What are you doing to kind of promote yourself, and what are you doing?
I guess I'm just a normal college kid on social media. I've probably got more followers just from wrestling through the years and meeting all kinds of different people and stuff like that. I guess now I'm primarily focused on like just kind of bringing attention to Northern State Wrestling. I think that's probably, if you get on any of my social medias, it's Northern State Wrestling stuff. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing for me is promoting the team and, you know, kind of getting the respect I feel like we deserve at Northern State.
Mm-hmm. I think that's big. You have to have people that promote it. You know, the coach can't do it all. You know, sometimes you have to have the people that really believe in a program do it the best. How about getting people into the stands? Have you pushed for that and things because they have their duels at home? And
yeah, I'm trying. I'll like have class with people I don't even really know. I'll sit next to them and be like, hey, you coming to the duel this weekend? And obviously I have a very supportive family. Like they make it to every duel and they fill a lot of seats. And so I try my best to get people there. I feel like there's also a lot of cool opportunities from people outside the program to bring people to duels. Like this weekend, we're giving away a MacBook just to get people in the stands. Like an NSU student is going to walk out with a MacBook. So stuff like that.
They gave that huge scholarship. I did broadcasted it last year when I was down there, and it was the day they gave the scholarship, and the girl was there. I can't remember. It's huge. Like that was $10,000.
$8,000.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And I think, another aspect of it too is just, you know, being successful. People are drawn to success. So I feel like the more successful we are as a team, the more likely people are to watch us. So I guess that kind of motivates me as well, if that makes sense.
Sure. Who do you think are the biggest rivals for Northern? Now, I probably Mary is one of them.
Mary, definitely. And then there's another school in Sioux Falls that
Okay.
You can say it. I mean, I've heard their name before.
Augustana, yeah. Augustana and Mary are probably our two biggest rivals. But then again, I think
the conference is so
the conference is so tough. It's everyone.
Mankato, St. Cloud, you just keep going up and down. It's tough.
Yeah, I think it's everybody because realistically, you can't overlook any team in the NSIC. So I wouldn't just single out teams, but I think if I had to say, I would say those two schools.
Yeah, definitely the closest kind of, and you also see, let's say, people you've competed against your whole life, other South Dakota wrestlers, you know, some North Dakota guys you see. And how about at your weight class? Where's your main competition this year?
There's a lot of good guys. Obviously we didn't get to we were going to go to the Midwest Classic where I'd see a lot of the guys that are ranked ahead of me. But some weather stopped that. So I wouldn't really say I have a rival in the weight class necessarily. I took a loss earlier in the year, which is kind of, I guess, still nagging at me. But I feel like I can't just focus on one person. Like I'm just worried about getting better every day. And when those matches come, I'll be ready for them. But until then, I don't have any rivals per se.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, obviously it was the Parkside Kid, and they had a good match on in the duel on Friday night. Saturday, it went the other way, and you know, Wyatt got the Friday night one, and you know, the Parkside Kid got the other one. So that's a tough one. I mean, but you know, that's not a. I mean, that's for me as a fan, as a you know.
And then was it the Oklahoma State Bull Flippo or something? I thought he was pretty good wrestler. I saw him on the list.
Yeah, Central Oklahoma guy. He was ranked.
He
was ranked third when I wrestled him. He's tough. He's really tough. He's an All-American last year. 6th year senior, something like that. So, yeah, there's tough guys up and down the way.
And you know that you're going to see a good one this weekend. I'd be honest with you, you're going to see two good ones this weekend. It's got NSIC duels on Friday and Sunday. Mankato's got a pretty tough young kid there, Caleb Muner, Wisconsin kid, and then you don't know who you're going to get from when you wrestle St. Cloud, but it's going to be tough. I mean, we have an idea, but there's probably 2 or 3 guys there that are probably pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, it's college wrestling. There's tough guys everywhere. So
yeah, that's why we always know how tough it is to get out of this region. You're going to see a pretty good one every night. So
definitely.
Yeah. So you didn't mention these people, but you're going into elementary education, and then you're thinking of getting a master's. Can you tell the people what kind of master's you're looking at getting?
Yeah, I'm going to take my last 2 years wrestling here at Northern, and I'm going to get my master's in sports performance and leadership. And there's 2 tracks you can take with that. You can take the performance track or the leadership track. And I think the leadership is more like administration-based stuff. So I'm going to do the performance track and hopefully be a coach one day, like I said. And I think there's a lot of valuable experience in the performance one. Like you have to do an internship, or you have to do like some research on the sport you're looking to go into. So I feel like that's going to be really beneficial to me as I, look to make a career in the sport of wrestling.
Sure. Got so many different little areas. How about this? Now you've done a few camps. Do you plan on doing any of those this summer again? You looking forward to anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I love doing that stuff. I started up 2 summers ago. I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of wanted to get out and show some technique, hang out with kids. And I I didn't really expect to get as much attention as I did necessarily. Like I had a lot of people reach out to me, and then the next year I got even more reaching out to me. So I feel like that's something I'm going to continue to do as long as I'm still competing, because that also brings attention to my team and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to do that for as long as I can, just because like I get Facebook messages and stuff from parents all the time that are like, watch your duel tonight. Just wanted to let you know how much of an impact you had on my kid, stuff like that. And as much as it might help the kids, it might not. It does just as much for me. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to continue to do.
Here might be an interesting question. How about your first go-to move if you're going to teach somebody something, a kid? What would you go to?
I would probably teach a single leg or a double leg. Just getting them started. I've done camps where kids have never touched a mat before. I did a camp in Chamberlain this past summer where it was 18 high school girls who had never touched a mat in their life. So I had to start from square one. So yeah, super basic stuff. I wouldn't really show anything too flashy. Single leg, double leg, high crotch, stuff like that. But then also we'll have some fun. We'll learn some cool stuff too.
Okay.
Got to make it fun.
How about any great camps you went to? Could you name any of the camps you went to?
Yeah, great? There's one camp I went to when I was going into my freshman year of high school. I think kind of changed the trajectory of my career. I fundraised a bunch of money so I could go to this 14-day intensive camp at Nebraska. And I was mowing lawns, selling raffle tickets, doing everything I could to make, I think it was like $1,200 to go. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, I guess. I thought it was just going to be like hanging out with friends, wrestling. Me and a teammate went, and it was brutal. We were doing everything the college guys were doing, getting up at 5:30, running, wrestling 3-4 times a day, doing duels, stuff like that. I think that just kind of opened my eyes to what it really takes if you want to go far in the sport. So I would say that one definitely had the biggest impact on me. And then I went to a lot of camps growing up locally and stuff like that, but I still think about stuff from that camp to this day. So it'd be hard to say that one wasn't the most impactful.
Okay. Well, we got a great question here. Okay, go.
Oh, I just wanted to throw out there how, we all see a lot of these fundraisers come by, right? We have, whether in all kinds of different organizations, but every wrestling club and a lot of wrestlers are doing fundraising on a yearly basis, weekly basis in some cases. And if you're one of the people that get hit up on one of those fundraisers, just kind of pay attention to what Wyatt said. A camp that happened before his freshman year of high school.
10 years ago.
Yeah. It literally changed the trajectory of his life, and I would say, I'll kind of throw back to, Billy went to a camp in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, between his sophomore and junior year. And you could probably say the same thing with that. And, just that's how impactful wrestling is for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to have those kinds of experiences, you can really, make an impact on a person's life and a kid's life, we say right now, but it's a lifelong thing. So remember that when they come knocking on the door, or, come into your business looking to, look for a few bucks to go to a camp or, pay for, going to a team competition or anything. So
absolutely.
That just shows how important it is.
I love it. Great point, Bill. Great point. Okay, here's a long question from Crystal here. Hey, Wyatt. Hello from Winter. You're super proud of you. Okay, okay. Now it says, can you please tell me how wrestling became your passion? I have a little guy who loves it, but honestly is scared to death on what to do and how to do it. Any tips and ideas to help guide him and help him not to be scared? Okay. My kids love to watch you wrestle. Okay.
I think just recognizing it's not going to be perfect right away is probably the biggest thing. It is scary. I'm sure my mom's watching right now. I used to cry all the time before I wrestled. And I used to have this little, it was like the tag from a wrestling shoe. And I had to have it on because I thought it gave me like special powers or something. So I you just kind of start to love it. Either you're going to love it or you're not. You can't force a kid to love it, I would say. But for now, I would just say make it fun for them. Because it is scary. It's a dangerous sport at the end of the day. But I would say just don't put so much pressure on him. Make it fun. Because it's a long journey. You're not going to be a state champion in a day. So
yeah, I'll add a little something there to me, and I would think that Wyatt would probably say the same thing. The act of wrestling is fun, right? I mean, when we get to go out and mix it up and wrestle, and the kids, they feel the same way. When you put them in the room, they're wrestling, and they do or don't know what they're doing. 90% of the time they don't. They're having a lot of fun. And they come to you during beginning practice, can we wrestle live today? And you're like, yeah, you can wrestle live. But when you go and you start putting on the red or green ankle band and shaking hands in the middle of the mat and there's a referee standing out there, then it starts to get scary and kids are worried about doing the wrong thing. So if everybody could just understand that they don't need to go to every tournament every weekend, they're 5, 6, 7 years old, so they can stay home and they can just learn to wrestle and have fun with wrestling. Then when it becomes time to go to tournaments, then they're ready because they've fallen in love with the actual act of wrestling. To me, it's the best workout known to man. It's fun to do. And I think that is one thing that we as coaches and as parents kind of need to portray across to our kids. There's no pressure and I don't mean no pressure in winning. There's no pressure in competing. When you're 5, 6, 7 years old. I mean, of course, we got 9-year-old kids that probably have 1,000 matches. I mean, they don't, and they're fine. They love it, but the kid that's 5, that's new, really enjoys watching Wyatt wrestle on video or watching Wyatt wrestle, come in and watching him live, and they think they have to go to tournaments to make it fun. They don't. They just got to wrestle. Just go out and mix it up and have a good time. And, the time will come that we'll teach them how to finish a single leg.
Yeah. Just got to get them out there and let them have fun. Yep. No one's getting a full ride in AAU.
So. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and it's surprising if you can somehow teach a kid to, enjoy working hard and have them proud, win or loss. It really doesn't matter. I see the young kids, and honestly, my opinions have changed over the years, but I honestly believe parents just need to step back and let their kids do what they want to do a little bit and not put the pressure on them. That's the only thing I see that over the years I wish would have changed, because I have a lot of buddies that should still be loving the sport and had their kids love it, but they had so much pressure put on them as a young kid that they thought that they were worked out by the time they were 12. Like their pressure was too high at that time. And I'm going, oh man, it was missed. And it wasn't the kid. Honestly, it was the parents most of the time. So I should just say, step back, let your kids enjoy it, and they'll make the choice. They really will.
You know, and I'll say, the kids put a lot of pressure, just like she said. Her kids are worried that they're doing the wrong thing.
Yep.
There is no wrong thing, right? I mean, why I said it's not going to be perfect right now. It's never perfect. I mean, this is a sport of it's just always, you know, it's just a continuation of I heard someone describe it at one time of, you know, I do this and you do that and I do this and you do that forever. I mean, that's what a wrestling match is, right? I mean, as long as that clock's running, you know, we're doing that. And so there's never any perfection. You know, we see guys that look like they're perfect. All right. There's sometimes you watch Wyatt get a takedown and gets a wrist and there's 6 points racked up and you're thinking, holy cow, he should do that every single time.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and then I yell at him because I don't understand why he doesn't do it.
If he could tilt pin everybody all the time, like last weekend,
yeah.
So
if it was that easy.
I mean, that's what I would add to it. I mean, I know there's no doubt there's a lot of parents put a lot of pressure on. I'm guessing that, you know, the Crystal isn't one of those people. The kids will put it on themselves because they think that they need to go out and win wrestling matches. And like I said, it's way more important just to go and wrestle and have fun, even if it's just in the room.
Well, true story. This last weekend on Sunday, my wife has an ex-athlete of hers. My wife was a volleyball coach down in Mobridge, South Dakota, where actually your head coach that you were talking about actually coached in Mobridge. And he's a Winner wrestler, and he moved from Mobridge back down to Winner to take over down there. But she had one of her athletes, and she's a mother of a 5-year-old boy, and he wanted to wrestle. And she's a basketball person, and she wrote a great post, and I basically asked, and she let me put it on Dakota Grappler, and I'm going to put a little link to for Crystal out there. She wrote something that I then turned into an article on Dakota Grappler, and it's a mother's, you know, basically views of watching her boy go out and wrestle, and it's such a great little article to read. It might give you some inspiration, and it gives you a great feeling of a person or a mom sitting in the stands and seeing her boy out there putting the ankle band around their calf, not knowing where it goes, you know, and not sure what happened because the first period wasn't over, you know, it wasn't done, or getting pinned, seeing the other kid's hand get raised, all these little things, and trying to, you know, not minimize it, be proud of their kid for just being brave and getting out there. It was such a great little story. So if you have a chance, I put a little link on there for you, Crystal. Go over to Dakota Grappler, look up the one, you know, thoughts from the first time wrestling mother. It's a great little article to look at. Definitely. I know, Bill, if you took a chance to take a look at that, but it was something good. And, you know, there's just inspiration out there you get from a lot of different people, and you'd be surprised. The wrestling moms, they are the ones that a lot of times will make or break young wrestlers, because that's who I went to. That's who a lot of people went to. That's why we consider ourselves mama's boys, and not rebels a lot of the time. A lot of wrestlers, they look for that support because they can be tough on the mat, but when they get off the mat, they need that comfort and support too sometimes. Definitely. Okay. No, how about this? Now we're already almost 40 minutes in, Wyatt. It goes quick here. I want to go through this. We do something on here where we do a rapid fire questions. And I'm gonna pick out a few of them for you, and see how it goes here. Okay. Number 1, favorite after weigh-in meal.
I'll do a peanut butter bagel with honey.
Ooh, honey. So that's quick energy, definitely.
I've been doing that forever. So.
How about if you had a cheat meal? That's not on the list, but.
Qdoba burrito bowl, 100%.
Awesome. Okay. Did you have one of these when you were growing up, a college wrestling team you like to follow?
I just liked whoever was good. Honestly, I didn't have a favorite team. I probably just had favorite wrestlers, and they were probably the best wrestlers at the time. So Penn State, Iowa, those guys. Minnesota went back when I was in middle school.
If you had to pick one of those wrestlers or somebody that's not, who would you like to wrestle? Would you like to go against it? You know, some of those D1 guys?
My favorite wrestler has always been Thomas Gilman ever since he stepped into the lineup. I don't know if I would necessarily want to wrestle him, but he's a little bit smaller than me, but still, he's always been my favorite. I just kind of like his style and demeanor. He's kind of mean, so
Okay. I think I've got a signed poster of him. If I find it, I'll send it your way.
oh, sweet.
Yeah, I do. Yep, definitely. Okay. Gatorade or Powerade?
Gatorade,
Color?
blue
A
or orange.
Okay.
I'm not too picky.
Popsicles or dilly bars?
Dilly bars are pretty good. I haven't had one of those in like 10 years, but I would say dilly bars.
Okay. Give 3 characteristics that all wrestlers need to have.
I would say mental toughness, one. I think 2 would probably be the ability to persevere, which kind of probably goes with mental toughness.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3, I think you just got to be able to relax. Those are my 3.
Okay. Are you a mama's boy or rebel?
Mama's boy, 100%. If I answered different, I'd probably get 100 messages. So.
Major League Baseball or NFL?
NFL.
What team?
The Cowboys.
Oh,
I don't really watch.
We're both out. Whichever.
I don't really watch football anymore, but
Okay. Are you fast-paced or consistently slow?
Fast-paced. I don't know. I don't really know how to slow down. So.
Okay. Physical or mental athlete?
Oh, that's tough. Mental.
Okay. You always want to be a physical athlete, but if you're not mentally tough, you can't be the physical athlete either.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. At least consistently. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Okay. Now this is old school question. I should probably put some more on the list. Dan Gable or Cale Sanderson?
Dan Gable.
Ooh.
I've read all his books, so I don't think Cale has a book, so.
I want you to learn anything from one of them. He doesn't want anybody to learn what he's doing.
He keeps his secrets.
Yeah, definitely. Favorite number?
Oh, 5.
And where does 5 relate?
I used to think I was going to be an NBA player for a long time. My favorite basketball player is number 5, Kevin Garnett. Celtics. So yeah, definitely 5.
Well, that's funny. Wrestlers always think they're 3-point shooters. I don't know. Best wrestler you've ever wrestled?
Oh man. Well, I did get dropped on my head by Reese Humphrey at the Northern Team Camp. That was, by the way, since I got a platform, that was staged.
It was not. I talked to Reese and Billy. Both told me it wasn't. Billy,
it was 1,000,000% staged. Him or Jason Nolf. I didn't wrestle them live, but
okay,
they did technique, so that's Okay,
that's cool. Any habit you learned in wrestling that you still do today? Well, you're still wrestling, but
yeah, I think everybody knows like the infamous wrestler bounce before their matches. I feel like anytime I kind of get like excited or something, I'll do that.
That's a good one. I forget about that. I was doing it the other day. I started to bounce up and down before, and I'm 53 years old, and I was doing it. I was going. They're going, "Gums, you're not wrestling."
Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably do that forever. So
that is funny.
Yeah, the national anthem players playing, and it starts happening. Oh, man.
Yeah. Which show could you be on? Storage Wars, Survivor, The Voice, or Jeopardy?
If I had the confidence that I have when I'm driving in my car by myself, I would say The Voice. 100%.
Okay.
Survivor, probably.
A lot of wrestlers like Survivor, that type of thing, because it would be a battle with just the mental, the body strength, and having to sacrifice and do things that wrestlers have to do normally. Yep, definitely. Cat, bird, or dog?
Dog.
Have you ever had one as a pet?
Yeah. We had a cat in our college house, actually. One of my teammates had a pet cat, and I'm not a cat person. Definitely dog.
Okay. If you could have been a fly on the wall in some other coach's room, whose wrestling room would you like to have been spying on?
Penn State, 100%. I think they keep a lot of secrets, and I kind of want to see what they do. So,
okay, well, awesome. That is the quick list. Now, here's one that I give to coaches, but now I want to kind of ask you, if you were coaching, what kind of philosophy would you like to instill into some of your wrestlers, or maybe how could you say this, the culture that you'd like to bring to a wrestling team?
I actually just wrote a 5-page paper on this on Tuesday, or yesterday. So I think there's obviously a lot of values you want to instill in your wrestlers. You want them to be good people, mentally tough, do the right thing. But one thing I touched on in that was like making your team kind of a family. Because especially like for me right now, you're with your coaches for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, but then the rest of the time it's just you and your teammates. And so I would say just making like the team like a family environment, because we've been like just at Northern, we've been through a lot. And if I didn't have my teammates and stuff like that, I don't think I would necessarily be in this position, like leaning on those guys during hard times and stuff like that. So I think just kind of making the team like a family would be the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Okay, here's a quick one that comes out there. Like you to know that Uncle Wyatt and Uncle Wyatt's their favorite wrestlers.
That's my niece. She ran out on a wrestling mat the other day looking for me during a tournament. So
yeah, definitely. I started to put. I think Winter just had theirs wrestling tournament just the other day, and so put the list behind me. No, I tell you what, anything you really, as you're going into the rest of the season, that you really want to, progress towards, or what's kind of some of your goals as the season finishes, and then Bill and I will talk some other wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's pretty clear. I've wanted to be a national champion since I've stepped foot on Northern's campus. I won't be satisfied with anything else. Last year I made it to the national tournament. People tell me like, you had a good season, but it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So I won't be satisfied with anything but a national title.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, awesome. Great goals. Bill, any last words for Wyatt? And then we'll talk about a little bit of wrestling this weekend, the last 10 minutes or so.
Well, I guess one thing we haven't talked about, right, is the Northern State team.
Oh yeah.
They went down to Kearney, Nebraska this weekend for Midwest Duels. Had a great weekend. Wrestled University of Nebraska Kearney. I think they're still ranked number 3 in the country. Northern came out on top of that duel. Good hard fought duel. Some really great matches. Then they kind of beat the brakes off of Fort Hays State, another ranked team, maybe 18th or something like that in the country, and then finished up with Central Missouri. I don't remember. Was that one 40-0? Maybe. I mean, that was. I know Central Missouri held out a guy or two that we would have liked to have seen, but that's happening all over the country. We've talked about it on the show. So, just a great tournament. Made a good trip down, turned around, made the trip back, and Northern State put on a fabulous kids tournament last Sunday at the Barnett Center. Somewhere around 430 kids got them in and out. Actually, got done pretty fast. It was a good trip. We had about 6 Carrington kids that went down there and had a really good time. Tournament was run well. Refereeing kind of stunk, but what do you do? I mean, they are what they are. No, the kids did. High school, college kids. What's funny to me is from that room that had I don't know, a dozen or less kids in it when Rocky took over the program. Everywhere you looked, there was a Northern wrestler working tables and reffing. I don't know how many kids are in the room today, Wyatt.
32, 33.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to me it had to have been pushing 40. I mean, it was They were everywhere. So the program's alive and well. They got 2 great duels this weekend. They got Minnesota State coming in on Friday night with a Jim Makovsky led team, a young team. that's, pretty hungry. And then they got St. Cloud State on Sunday. And you better be ready for both of them, because both teams are going to come out swinging, and those are the matchups that the Northern State wants, from what I've seen, and a team that's led by Wyatt. Another few things have happened, and I guess Wyatt can tell us a little bit. One of his high school teammates has all of a sudden showed up on the mat for Northern State, Sam Kruger, at 184 pounds. Kind of just, I would say he's just kind of rounding into shape. And so I'm kind of excited to see what he'll bring. He's just, I guess he's a redshirt freshman, right?
Yep. He's so he didn't wrestle this past fall at SCSU, but he was there the year before. He missed wrestling. Obviously, we have a great relationship. He was my best friend in high school, so brought him on campus, getting back in shape. He's gonna be a threat in March.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun. I mean, for you South Dakota fans and North Dakota fans, for that matter. I mean, these are guys that are fun to watch wrestle. Every match in the NSIC, and is really nice that you can watch them all online. But the Barnett Center is a good place to go watch a wrestling match. So, and they'll be coming to your town, right? They're going to wrestle in Bismarck later this month. They're going to wrestle. I don't know. Moorhead will be coming to Northern this year, I think. So,
next Thursday.
Yep. So, that's kind of all I would talk about, I guess, on the Northern side. Okay. I mean, I think we got to make sure, it's a team that's about half made up of North Dakota and South Dakota kids on the starter as far as starters. I think that's kind of what I noticed the other day. And then you got a mixture of some Minnesota and Nebraska and Iowa kids in there.
I saw that Landon Fisher's getting a lot of time, and he's doing okay.
Yeah, Landon's.
Yeah, Landon's our 25 pounder.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a Rapid City boy, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Rapid City boy at Landon at 25. You got Tegan Block from Minnesota at 33. Colton Roth, a 41 pounder from Iowa. And of course, Wyatt at 49. 57 is Devin Barr, La Crosse, Wisconsin kid. Actually wrestled for 4 years at the University of Wisconsin. He came in as a grad assistant, has a little eligibility left, so he's on the mat. 65 is Chase Bloomquist from Forest Lake, Minnesota. He's from Forest Lake, right?
Prior Lake.
Well, he's Prior Lake. I mean, that's what I meant to say. Prior Lake, Minnesota. And then 74, Kelby is from South Dakota. He's from
Groton,
South Dakota. Yep. And 84, we just talked about Sam Kruger from Winter. 97, Cole Huss, number 3 ranked guy in the country from Gretna, Nebraska. And then at heavyweight, we got South Border product, Devin Shower.
Yep.
Or I always say Devin because I know another guy named Devin, but Nathan Shower.
Nathan, yes. Nathan.
Yep. So yeah, it's a Midwest built team. There's not, they don't have they're not kids coming in from California or Texas. I mean, these are kids that are coming from North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska. They've kind of zeroed in their recruiting. Obviously, we've got a Wisconsin guy in there now, but
well, I tell you what, I think it's a huge thing. The room's doing well. Aberdeen's a nice community. Really support their wrestling. I think a lot of guys how could you say this? Probably don't understand how good wrestling is in Aberdeen. And so they bypass the college a little bit because it's a smaller college. But I think they're doing the right things, and it's good for the sport. It is. We've talked about that in the past. Okay, other things going on this weekend wrestling-wise, just a couple minutes left here. We do have several tournaments. We have 2 two-day tournaments. We, of course, have the Belle Fourche tournament down in South Dakota. I wrestled in that going back to high school, my sophomore and junior. In fact, wrestled Lincoln McElraby's brother in the finals my junior year, and I did beat him. And what else? Then they also have the 2-day tournament, the East-West in North Dakota. That's the tournament that is huge when it comes to 2-day tournaments. The top teams in that have won state many, many, many times over the years, and it kind of is the main. Besides you, of course, there's other big tournaments now, North Dakota, the Storehog and other things, but it kind of finalizes kind of some of the last seeding stuff before they get into regions in the state of North Dakota for Class B, because then you'll go to the region duels, and then you'll have the regions, and next thing you know, we're at state for Class A and Class B in Fargo. Other tournaments, of course, for the ladies, we got the Belle of the Brawl sitting in Castleton. That should be a big girls tournament there. I know there's a couple other ones that go right along in the Lee Wolf. We'll have girls wrestling in it. Lemoore tournament, they got Belfouche, like I said here. You got the Brookings invite there. You've got Parker tournament. I'll just kind of go down a little bit. Groton's got a tournament this weekend, Wagner and Red Cloud. Those are the tournaments. You can kind of see them there real quick. Those are all the high school ones that are happening. And so get a chance, get out and watch some wrestling people out there. Got a lot of fans. College-wise, what is happening with NDSU and SDSU and those? Do you know right off your top of your head, Bill?
Well, you know what? I can't. I think that I don't remember actually. I'm just thinking, we got an Iowa Penn State duel on Friday night.
Oh, can't forget that. Yep.
So that's the big one. We should look here on those other, because I do know that NDSU has OU coming up, but I don't think that is this weekend. So I should just kind of look that up just to make sure, because the Bison had a good weekend last weekend with Wyoming coming in on Saturday, kind of beat them up pretty good. And then Wyoming went down to Brookings on Sunday. This weekend, both teams are off. So last weekend they both wrestled Wyoming and Utah Valley, and then this weekend they are both off. That's why I couldn't think of what they were doing. Mm-hmm. So that they're, it's kind of like we're talking about in the Division II season. The Division I guys are really in the heart of their conference duels. So NDSU is kind of right in the middle of a stretch of Big 12 duels. They've got Air Force still, and Northern Colorado and Oklahoma, and then they'll finish up with the duel in Fargo, I believe, with South Dakota State. So, and you could probably figure that South Dakota State's probably wrestling those same teams. I mean, that's kind of how those schedules seem to work out. So, and then on the Big Ten side, you got the duel of the year, probably Penn State, Iowa at Penn State. So that'll be a it's a very interesting duel. There's some somewhat toss-up matches in there. I think I think that Penn State wins it fairly easily myself, but that's, there's some matches in there that,
I don't think Iowa's going to bump anybody. People are trying to make predictions. I think they're going to keep it pretty straight. The Lee and RBY match is not going to happen.
No. Yeah, we'd all love to see that, but it makes zero sense. I mean, you get a 125 pounder talking about going up to wrestle the best guy in the country at 133 over the last 3-4 years, and not only is size a difference, I can't believe. I mean, Spencer's obviously phenomenal, and he's on a heck of a run, but I can't believe his knees are 100% healthy, so that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, we'd love to see it. Hey, we should see it in April at the U.S. Open. And that's where that should happen at 57 kilograms. So, and
I was just thinking, Dickinson State has a tournament this weekend.
Dickinson State, I think they have. I think Jamestown might be dueling there on Friday night, and then they are wrestling. There's a tournament on Saturday. Actually, there was another. I did want to mention. I had kind of saved this, so I remembered. I'm glad you brought it up, because Dickinson this last weekend. Well, maybe I didn't say, but I thought I did. They went down to the Missouri Valley Invite, and they had a lot of guys that wrestled down there and had some success. So some North Dakota guys, Wyatt Turnquist went 2-2, Ethan Fleck went 3-2, Caleb Nielsen, Lisbon kid, went 2-2, Tate Nordby,
Dickinson.
1 and 2. Yeah. So they had a couple placers, some guys that made it around the 12. But got a lot of matches in. So, Dickinson's kind of, I think, heading the right direction.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, definitely out there. There's always stuff to see. We're right at that hour point. Guys, I tell you what, my last words are, I thank you so much, Wyatt, for getting on. I wish you the best of luck as the season goes. Going to see if I can go down and catch a match with you before the end of the year for sure. And one of my Sundays open. I think that's when I can make it down there. But Bill, again, thanks for coming on. Again, here's an interesting stat here. Caleb Nielsen's dad was a state champion for winter. I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
That is.
Yep. So everybody has some information out there. Some of that stuff just gets missed. Bill, any last words?
Hey, I'm just going to tell you that you have a chance to go a lot of places to watch good wrestling this weekend. If you're in the eastern part of North Dakota, go in there and watch those girls wrestle. A great duel Friday night, Central Cass and Carrington. And I actually think that is for the number one seed in the upcoming girls regional duel tournament. Whoever wins that duel, I believe, will be the 1 seed. Whoever loses will be the 2 seed. So that's, going to be a pretty good match. And then Saturday, there'll be a bunch of teams in there for at the Central Cass, the Bell of the Brawl. So some great wrestling there. If you're out in the eastern part or western part of the state,
can't beat the East-West.
East-West is always great. A lot of fun. That's just good old wrestling, right? And hot, sweaty gym, packed people you can't hardly breathe. It's great. It's a great place to be. If you're in central, all over South Dakota, you mentioned Belle Fourche. Some great wrestling in Aberdeen. The Lee Wolf on Saturday, and then Sunday. Friday night you got a duel for Northern. Sunday you got a duel with Northern. A chance to see some of the best teams in the country go at it. So go out and support these wrestlers. Treat yourself and your kids to some wrestling. Have a lot of fun.
And if you guys don't know it, lots of Sundays, a lot of kids wrestling going on all over the place too. So go out and support those kids too. If you have a niece, nephew, cousin, you'd be surprised how they really appreciate it if you went and watched them wrestle at one of these little kids wrestling tournaments. Do that too. Okay. Wyatt, any last words?
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yes, you betcha. Anytime. You betcha. I appreciate you coming out and getting Northern some recognition. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Go Wolves.
Yeah. Go Wolves. Okay. Guys, you guys have a great night. Dakota Grappler, we'll have some more guests on. I have next week. I guess I'll probably have, I think McCook Central coach is going to probably get on. I think I've got Watertown's head coach coming on also. And then I'm hoping to get Barry McCleary on. I've got an invite out to him, and hopefully I can get him on in the near future. But we have lots of guests we're going to try to get on here before the end of the year. You guys have a great night. Dakota Grappler, we're out. Thanks.